Welcome back to Words in Beauty. Today I'm your host and I'm solo. You'll notice I don't have my partner in crime, my daughter, Taylor Trace. Today we're going to take a little bit of a slower pace and we're going to talk about something that has been bugging me and you as to why only I can get your hair to look good and you can't repeat it at home. There's a difference between you and I, and it is that I understand the difference between our words in beauty this week. Our words in beauty are moisturization versus hydration. And when you understand the difference in these two words, your hair is going to look beautiful from this point forward. Promise. I'm going to give you just a tiny little bit of history. And it's going to be quick and concise, but I am going to cover 100 years. It's not going to be the most detailed thing you've ever heard about, but just quickly go through this with me and think if you, I know you're going to agree. I don't even have to think about it. I know you're going to agree with me. Let's talk about the 1920s. In the 1920s, do you know this really cool hairstyle came out? It was called the bob. Yeah, we're still using it this year. The French bob is what's in style. But when the bob originally came out, it was a liberating modern fashion. Women cut their hair off to their chin. It was a big deal. But in the 1940s, we realized that we had to become more practical, that it was a wartime. And women wore their hair so that they can whip it up into a scarf, tie it in the knot, and look like Rosie the Riveter because they were called to the workforce because of a wartime. Red lipstick was super popular because no one could afford to cut their hair. So red lipstick, hair twisted in a tie, and boom, you were off to the show. In the 1950s, bouffant came back because we had more time, more money, and the war is over. You saw a lot of backcombing and teasing, and hair got big. But comes the 1960s, and hair gets big in a different way. The afro is here, and everyone is trying to emulate the power of it. And so because of this flow that we see, perm waves are popular, and we're trying to get bigger, curly hair. But then comes the end of the 70s, and Farrah Fawcett's here, and she has pushed back hair. It's soft like an angel's. The 80s and 90s, once again, we're getting back to big hair. We're trying to get that hair up and big and closer to Jesus. And then we do this thing called a bi-level and maybe refer to a mullet, that business in the front and party in the back thing. The flock of seagulls wore it. Duran Duran wore it. Our hair was up and glued. Yeah, the closer to Jesus. The bigger the hair, the closer to Jesus. But by the end of the 90s, we start seeing this really soft, face-framing, layered look, and someone very popular, a friend of ours, had her picture presented to us. May I please have the Rachel layers? If another person brought me the picture, I was gonna scream. But hair was soft and it flowed and it framed your face. The 2000s led us into a very chunky highlighting technique. That's what they were called, chunky highlights. And they were extremely popular. And one of our favorite shows was The American Idol. And I believe it was Kelly Clarkson's picture that I saw repeatedly for a year and a half. I need chunky highlights. But as 2000 ended and we came to 2010s, it was really important to see a soft, flat look. I mean like parchment paper. Your hair was so flat, no room for volume. If you had volume, you were your mother's hair, and nobody wanted to do that. But as we come to the 2010s and to even the present time right now, we're seeing a more soft, bespoke highlighting that is with ombre. And then it came in with something called balayage, which was a sweeping of highlights, just like the sun kissed it. And we're still doing that today. People are spending thousands of dollars to have a very minimalist look that looks like, I just woke up like this. Did you notice in everything I mentioned in the last 100 years of hairstyles, never did I mention dry, brittle, dehydrated hair? You know why? Because it's never in style to have dehydrated, dry, brittle hair. It doesn't look healthy, and it snaps when I bend it, and it breaks. So settle in, take a breath, and let's begin. Because I'm going to explain to you the difference between moisture and hydration. So let's start with the real basics. Hydration is when we need to put more water into the hair. Now, in the first podcast, Taylor and I were talking about water as a first ingredient in many of the products that we employ. And water is a great carrier. It allows hydration to be sent to the center of our strands. And it does that through using hyaluronic acid, different types of glycerins. And it also uses really, I remember reading about the discovery of panthenol when I first became a hairstylist in the 70s. And it was this healing, hydrating experience that your hair had. It was like giving your hair a big drink of water, and the shine was incredible. The ends didn't break like they had in the past, and it was just really a smooth experience. And aloe was also employed at that time, and it was like, wow, these products are really, becoming natural by putting different types of hydration into the hair through implementing water. Now, just like there are 7 different types of water, and there are, some of the ways that we like to put hydration into your hair is through steaming it. I know it sounds odd, right? Like, when did I ever have my hair steamed? Well, were you ever at the back bar and you were getting your hair shampooed in the fabulous sink environment back there where you're all cleansing, and then after we've done this great cleansing and massage, we choose to put a conditioner in. On some people, we say, make sure it's only on the mid-lengths and ends. On others, we say, make sure you get it into her scalp. Then we take a cap, put it on your head, and we can wrap it in a hot towel, or we put it under the dryer. And you know what? We're creating steam, because steam helps hydrating products enter your hair deeply and effectively. Now, once we've gotten those concepts down of what we need to put into the hair, we have to decide who gets what. What type of hair should receive what type of hydrating treatment? If your hair looks rough, or the texture, no matter what happens, it has a dullness to it. Like, I just finished styling my hair using all the products that I love and that were recommended to me, but my hair still, it has a dullness to it. And if it tangles easily when it's dry or when it's wet, if it breaks when you bend it, or it feels tight. I know that sounds odd to describe hair as tight, but you know what I mean if you have dehydrated hair. There's a tightness to it. And even after I've washed it, it dries way too fast. It's the fastest drying hair. and it really is lacking hydration. So what I want you to know is that there's a couple of ways to discern which type of hair needs hydration and how much hydration it needs. And it is also going to complement the next segment of us talking about moisturization. What is moisturization? Well, moisturization is how I seal hydration in. It's a barrier of a lipid or an oil, and I'm placing that on the outside of the strand, or I could be placing it on the outside of my skin. This is where hydration will make your hair soft. It's supple, and it's really smooth and shiny, and it's frizz resistant. But moisturizers lock that in. And the way that they do it is by using lipids and oils: argan oil, jojoba oil, squalene, castor oil, coconut oil. All of these are ingredients that we have to have in a moisturizing product to lock hydration in. You could choose to use shea or mango butter. There's really some countries that allow you to still employ silicones, and some people favor this or they don't favor it. It's entirely up to your strand of hair. There's leave-in creams, and discerning which type of cream I use really and truly is dependent upon texture and texture alone. What type of porosity is my hair? I like to talk to it like this, like hydration puts water in. Moisturization keeps the water from getting out. Here's how you know to tell when your hair needs moisture, not just hydration. If your hair needs moisture, I've said this 100 times. The client told me that they blew dry their hair for 25 minutes and they went outside and it looked like it was just nothing. I went out there, my hair frizzed, it jumped, it looked terrible. I mean, I spent 25 minutes blow drying and it looks good for 10 minutes while I'm in my house. You know what that's a sign of? You didn't seal your hair with moisturization. You forgot to use an oil after you did all that work to seal in the hydration. Your hair looks puffy in humidity. The ends feel rough and they look dull no matter what you do. Dryness is on the surface rather internally. Dryness is on the surface. And if you don't moisturize, you can't take away that look. It doesn't look beautiful. It doesn't look healthy. Hydration alone, it doesn't fix frizz. Moisturization is what fixes frizz. So you can understand why these words could confuse you, because it is a water thing. Oh, wow, I need to put water in. But when you moisturize, you need to keep it in so that when you go outside, the moisture that's in the air outside won't create frizz. And this is the part, I mean, it's like the part that people never learn. You need both. These aren't things that are competing with each other. They're partners with each other. Moisturization and hydration, they're partners. So first you're going to hydrate and then you're going to moisturize. What type of products do I need to use if my hair is fine, lackluster, dull, but has an oily scalp? What do I need to use? Well, first off, you're mostly going to hydrate. You're going to add water so that you can balance an oily scalp. And you're going to use a very lightweight moisturizer just on the mid-lengths and ends. So we're going to cleanse with a hydrating shampoo and take care of our scalp. Get rid of the dry little flakies that you see there. And then we're going to seal that in with a moisturizing conditioner that has a very lightweight lipid and we're going to use it on the mid-lengths and ends to seal everything in. And that's what I'm going to do for fine hair. But for clients and myself, as I fit into this category, that have thick, coarse, or textured hair, I'm Mediterranean. And so my hair has a natural frizzy nature to it. My cuticle jumps constantly. And because it does that, I have to really make sure that I hydrate this hair first. My scalp has to be hydrated and my strands have to be deeply hydrated. And really, it's almost a practice of pushing the water into my hair. I actually can push it in. And when I do that, I can do it with leave-in products. Like the Malibu has a really amazing leave-in conditioner. I also love Money. This is lightweight and it's a really great product for just pushing moisture into my hair. That can also be done and really have an effective result with my scalp when I use something from Milbon. And Milbon has a very nice hydrating shampoo for your scalp. The conditioner is beautiful as well. When I need to finish my hair off because of its coarse texture and curl, I have to use something really heavy. And when I use something heavy, it usually comes in the form of a mask. In the salon, we use a June mask. And it's a treatment that I put in the hair, and I love to push it in with a steam experience. So whether the steam is at the back bar, that I'm just putting a moist towel around my head, or if I'm going to choose to have the micro mist steamer that we use from Japan in the head spa, it penetrates deeply and is really great at hydration. But when I finish my hair, moisturization is key. And I need to use an oil-based elixir for my finish. And that's what my leave-in is. It's an oil-based, and this one is with rose and saffron. That's from June. It's beautiful. Chemically treated hair, that's our third type. And that hair, you have to hydrate it with every wash. I can't amplify that enough. I don't care what type of scrubbing you do on your scalp. It doesn't have to be that much, especially if your hair is fragile from being chemically treated. But you need to hydrate your scalp, get rid of any dry, brittle flakes that you see on your scalp because they'll contribute to your hair being broken if it is excessively chemically treated. Hydrate. And then it must be sealed. I'm saying without exception, if you have chemically treated hair, highlights, hair color, perm wave, relaxer, it has to be moisturized and sealed every single time you get it wet. It has to be sealed. And we have this time in history, I mean, we have so many products to help you. If you need a consultation to figure out what your hair type is, come make an appointment, 561-272-2328. It's in the notes. DM us because we're excited to help you have beautiful hair. And you know, I have to say to you, there's like no universal product that fixes it. It doesn't work that way. Because as our bodies are evolving and our fine hair is exposed to hormonal changes, as our fine hair is exposed to postpartum, as our fine hair is exposed to menopause, or drugs and therapies that we have to take to stay healthy, it has an effect on fine hair that's way different than coarse and way different than chemically treated. So, depending where I am in life, depends on what products I need to use. There's no one product that fixes everybody at every time in their life. I've heard people say, well, I don't want to get started on that because then I can't stop and I'm going to be stuck using something in my hair. You know, getting stuck using something in your hair, if it's going to help you provide a beautiful look and elevate your confidence and esteem, how stuck are you? I mean, I don't think you're that stuck. I think it's a solution. And I really like to hear what the problems are, but I like to live in the solution. And if the solution is as simple as I need to put an oil into my hair or a leave-in conditioner, how easy is that? So I want you to think of it like this. I want you to think of hydration is the drink of water. It's in a glass. And that's what hydration is. I'm putting hydration in when I shampoo, and I'm putting hydration in when I lightly condition. I'm putting that hydration in. But moisturization is when I put a lid on it. And I say, you know what? I'm not letting any of that water out. You'll see enhanced shine, flexibility, elasticity, and your hair has fabulous movement. And isn't that what it's really all about? You just want to have your hair look and feel like you do on the inside. And sometimes when you don't feel like that on the inside, when I've done it to my hair, it helps me feel better. It's a booster. It gives me great confidence. I love that. Remember, moisturization and hydration, they're not competitors. They're partners, and they work together to help you have healthy, beautiful, shiny looking hair. Now there's a couple little tidbits I want to include. Probably 10 years ago, I was a guest artist for a company, and they talked about styling products, and that the average woman had 27 different products under her bathroom sink to style and look pretty. Beautiful hair. 27 products. That was 10 years ago. Now, the social media industry wasn't as big as it is right now. So if you had 27 products 10 years ago, has it tripled now? Do you have 60 products underneath your sink to make your hair look beautiful? I don't know. But I will say this. Now you're going to know when to use them. If it says hydration for cleansing, shampoo away with the hydrating shampoo. And when it says, I'm going to seal this in, I need a moisturizer. And don't forget to seal it in with the moisturizer. You know, when all else fails, I've heard this before, read the directions. A lot of times on the back of those packages, it'll say exactly how to use me. Do it. I had a client in the other day, and you know exactly who you are, and we got the biggest laugh in the salon because she said the shampoo didn't work and it was special for curls. And I said, well, did you wet your hair for 5 minutes before you put it in? She said, what? I said, yeah, you wet your hair for 5 minutes. Then you put this big hunk of product in your hair. You run it through your strands and you let it sit for 15 minutes. That's shampoo. I said, that's the new shampoo you just bought. So sometimes we have to read the directions before we know that a product can be effective for us. And he was saying that, Elizabeth, that was a good laugh. I want you to remember that. If you've come in and we've given you a great consultation at Salon Trace, and you get home and you can't remember exactly what we've done, go ahead, read the directions. Let your products work for you. They're going to empower your confidence, your look, your style. And I hope that you feel like we were able to really get to the bottom of what hydration is. It's the glass of water. And what moisturization is. It's the lid you put on it. And remember to use both when you want to have healthy, shiny hair. I want to thank you so much for spending this solo time with me today. And I'm grateful you were here. And this has been Words in Beauty. And remember, your beauty begins here. Thanks. See you next time.